just knocked somebody out in a pitted karate combat while George St-Pierre commentated, Phil Nurse cornered him, and Joe Rogan watched. It's confirmed we're living in a fucking simulation. It wouldn't matter if I whipped it out and took a piss on the ground right now, because this isn't real life. I'm going to the bar.
Alright, so I really don't like Robin Black's work on GSP's Karate Combat, and even though that promotion is far from perfect, I definitely think that he's the worst part about the entire program. And as someone who wants to support GSP and Boss Rutten, I gotta say, Robin ruins the experience for me and makes me hesitant to watch future events. If you're not familiar with the guy, just know that Black used to work for the UFC as an analyst before he got let go for clearly not matching up with the brand image, and after bouncing around a few different promotions since, he seems to have found his home in Karate Combat, unfortunately. And yeah, in this video, I will explain to you why I think this guy is doing a terrible job over there and is ruining the promotion from the inside. Okay, let's start off with the most glaringly obvious and easy to notice aspect of Robin, which is his overly extravagant fashion sense. I really don't know why GSP and Boss keep letting this guy dress like he's still a glam rocker from the 80s, but I think it's a really bad decision. Every single time we see this guy on camera, he's wearing some sort of flashy jacket that absolutely does not fit Karate Combat's brand, and he's always wearing a noticeable amount of eyeliner, and sometimes he's even wearing face paint while he's working as well. Like, how do his outfits and makeup at all make sense in a promotion called Karate Combat? Can someone explain this to me? And hey, look, I'm all for fight promotions not being so buttoned up like the UFC or boxing are, but this is taking it to an unreasonable level. Like these extravagant jackets and the eyeliner and the tight-ass jeans being worn by a 55-year-old man working a fighting event just kind of feels a little bit sad to me. And I'm all for people wearing clothes that they feel comfortable in, but come on, man, does this not feel like the guy is silently screaming, look at me, by dressing like this for you guys like it does to me? And it's like, if you compare him to any of his coworkers who admittedly dress pretty casually in comparison to other fight promotions, he still sticks out like a sore thumb. And I understand that he's probably a really nice guy and his coworkers probably like him a lot and don't want to tell him what to do or whatever, but I kind of feel like there's a lack of self-awareness going on here with Robin. In a fight league where guys are fighting in karate pants and wearing black belts, he's dressing up like he's about to get on stage with Twisted Sister. Moreover, I feel like his fashion senses during KC events creates a weird identity conflict for the brand, which already has a bit of an identity issue as it is, but he's definitely not helping the problem. Like, do you guys think this guy really matches the tone or the brand of a promotion called Karate Combat? Because he really doesn't to me. Alright, let's move on to the fact that this guy's weird and unprofessional behavior makes for an uncomfortable viewing experience every time that he's featured on camera, which to the detriment of viewers happens quite often. First thing that I want you guys to watch is this video where he gets a little bit too friendly with the Karate Combat fight pit.
Intimate with her, seeing her textures and her shapes, her angles, getting to know her. She knows you, and you share deep meaning within this in Karate Combat pit. You can smell her, you can feel the texture.
Okay.
You can get to know her in ways that
Can we get Robin a room, please?
could. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Well, that gets a little bit weird.
Now, I know that you guys are going to say that this is clearly a skit and was planned in advance, which I agree with you. It does seem like a skit, and for that reason alone, I'll cut him a little bit of slack here, but from his bizarre face makeup to his over-the-top acting, I think that he missed the mark a little bit on his intended message, and he made things way more cringe than was necessary. Anyways, let's start taking a look at Robin's weirdo antics throughout the live event, starting off with this clip right here.
This is one of the all-time great nights. Congratulations to both of them. Oh, and if I may give you a piece of advice, don't finish so fast on your wedding night, my friend.
Whoa! 2-0 in 1 night.
And I get that he was making a reference to Owen Chelmia knocking out his opponent in 17 seconds, as well as Chelmia proposing to his wife right after the win, but I still think that this was an unprofessional thing to say. Don't get me wrong, I'm not clutching my pearls about this or anything, but personally, I would like to see some more decorum out of a guy who's such an integral part of the broadcast team. And if you think that this was funny or even an appropriate thing to say in this moment, then I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on this, but it just seems really try-hard out of Robin, especially for a guy who's always trying to play being a philosopher analyst, but we'll get into that later. Then we have this clip from KC47 where he says this completely out of nowhere.
He's calm and serene within the fight, but then Flash in wants to take his pants off after and show Big Mike something. This is a really interesting kid, and he's going to be a star here in Karate Combat.
Thank you, Robin. Guys, let's wrap up
Like, where did this even come from? Why did he think that this was a good thing to say in this moment? I love the very obvious awkward laughter that the commentators give in response, and then they immediately change the subject because none of them have any clue what to say to that either. Speaking of unprofessional, check out some of these clips where he drops the F-bomb on camera during KC46, where he definitely wasn't on coke throughout the entire event.
Brandon Jenkins is a fucking individual. He is one of one. Are you ready for the co-main event? Let's fucking do this. Enjoy. It's confirmed. We're living in a fucking simulation. It wouldn't matter if I whipped it out and took a piss on the ground right now, because this isn't real life. I'm going to the bar.
I don't know, man. I find this guy to be so cringe and annoying to watch during these events, and it's not the swearing itself that bothers me. If you watch any of my live streams, then you'll know that I swear like a sailor. I don't give a fucking shit if people swear in their everyday lives. But again, I do appreciate professionalism during live sporting events, and at a much more basic level, Robin dropping the F-bomb during these events just feels so forced and out of place, and it almost feels like he wants us to be impressed at how edgy he thinks he is. And then you have this example from KC44 where he gets mad at this dude for touching him.
Of what it would look like if George St-Pierre and Boss Rutten tried to buy crypto. These are complex mechanisms that are difficult to understand. This guy might get killed if he doesn't get his hand off me. These are incredibly... Seriously, get the fuck off me. These are incredibly difficult things to comprehend.
Look, don't put your hands on people who don't want you to touch them. That's a pretty simple rule in life, and I definitely get why Robin got irritated with this guy here. But at the same time, I feel like a real professional would have been able to keep the show going instead of stopping mid-sentence to tell the guy to get the fuck off him. Like, the other guy is definitely in the wrong here, but at the same time, I do feel like Robin could have handled the situation a little bit better. Regardless, my main point here is that this guy has no issues with saying the F word on live TV. Oh, also, there's this moment from KC43 where he says it again.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's fucking do this!
And you guys might be saying that there's nothing wrong with saying the F word and that it's not unprofessional to say nowadays, which I can understand for sure, especially seeing as there's no true definition of what's actually unprofessional. But even if it's not unprofessional, I still think that it's pretty juvenile and childish that this guy insists on swearing during these live events as much as he does. Honestly, Robin kind of reminds me of myself when I was in middle school and high school, when I would go out of my way to swear in situations that didn't justify it just to show how cool and edgy I thought I was. And honestly, I'm gonna say to Robin what I wish someone said to me back then, which is, we get it, dude, you swear, no one is impressed, bro. Also, and this is pretty minor, but his little power stance that he's always in feels super lame to me. Like, why? Why does this guy go out of his way to stand like he's about to drop a deuce right into his overly tight pants? The only time we don't see him standing like this is when he bows to the camera after his fight analyses, and then he'll immediately assume the position again. The dude stands like a Street Fighter character, and I don't know why it's so distracting to me, but it just is. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier. This guy is such a tryhard. Like, nothing about the way he presents himself seems natural to me, and everything about the way that he dresses, acts, and even stands just feels so extra. Honestly, even his work with the UFC already felt a little bit too much to me, but now that he's at Karate Combat, where he clearly doesn't have anybody telling him to dial it back, him being left to his own devices is really hard to watch. Anyways, I would be willing to overlook his ridiculous fashion choices, as well as his bizarre on-screen shenanigans, if he could back up his eccentricities with really good post-fight analysis, but honestly, that's just not the case. And I know that some of you guys might be saying that Robin Black is a really good analyst who knows so much about the sport, and the weird thing is, I actually agree with you. When this guy actually has time to prepare material and come up with topics to discuss beforehand, he is a very solid analyst. But the issue with his post-fight analyses during Karate Combat events is that I don't think he's all that good at coming up with meaningful talking points in the time that he's given, and a lot of the time he ends up yapping about nothing. And what makes it worse is that he's actually quite good at rambling and making the things that he says sound significant, when in reality he's just throwing out word salad where 90% of what he says is generic statements about the fight that any casual fan could see for themselves. First example that I want to bring up of Robin's non-analysis is this clip right here.
There's this concept called Wu Wei, which is loosely defined as actionless action. It is the idea of acting without conscious thought, just allowing your body to move, allowing yourself to do the right thing. Loxby showed us exactly this tonight. President Awesome has been talking about how special he is. You saw it here, where he gets out of his own way and simply allows his skills to express themselves in combat. You see what this kid can do. Very special. Loxby, good luck to your family, your wife, and your future child, and your entire family. Thank you for a wonderful fight.
Now, I know that this might sound insightful and profound, but I really don't think that what he says here is anything more than just generic word vomit. Robin bringing up the concept of Wu Wei is kind of interesting, I guess, but he doesn't at all explain what the fighter actually did to fight with Wu Wei other than say he got out of his own way, which is vague as hell. Okay, so the guy got out of his own way and he won the fight. That's cool. But what inaction did this guy use in order to gain the upper hand? Is Robin just saying that he fought patiently and let his opportunities come to him? Then why not just say that he fought patiently and let his opportunities come to him and elaborate on that instead of giving us the definition of an ancient Chinese concept that you're not even going to explain further in the context of the fight? It's overly philosophical and overly verbose, and in my opinion, it really does come off more as pretentious than it does analysis. The whole point of post-fight analysis is to answer the questions that viewers may have about the fight that they just watched, and the ironic thing is I'm left with more questions than answers after hearing his take on the fight. Alright, now listen to this non-analysis from Robin during KC48.
My friends, when we first started doing the Influencer Fight Club, at first we're like, we're gonna what? You're gonna take some guys who do something with Web3, crypto, something or other, and women and put them together and have them fight each other? These people don't know how to fight. We all felt it. But then something funny just started to happen. You saw fights like those where one of them couldn't see out of one eye. The other one's nose is filled with his own blood. They're exhausted. They're having to overcome anxiety and fear and worry. And something beautiful started to happen. We all understood there's something special happening in this IFC, and we're all better for watching it.
This guy is something else, man. I mean, I will give him credit that he's very talented at saying so much while also saying nothing at the same time, because he genuinely doesn't say anything worthwhile throughout this clip. All he says is that one fighter's eye was swollen shut and the other fighter had a bloody nose, and then he says that because they had to overcome their emotions that everyone watching knew they were watching something special or something. Like, if this is not the definition of buzzword salad, I really don't know what is, and I understand that he's talking about influencers fighting, but can't he still talk about what techniques worked and what techniques didn't work? Maybe he can discuss an important sequence in the fight that made an impact on the result of the match? Nah, he's just going to tell us that what we saw was special without at all elaborating on what made it special. I would say that this is some ChatGPT level fight analysis, but in all reality, ChatGPT would actually give a better explanation to a fight than this. Oh boy, now check out what he had to say here at KC47.
My friends, Arturo Vergara fights the way my 2.5-year-old daughter paints. And as a martial arts analyst, I mean that as the highest compliment. When you watch a child express art, it is so free. The sun can be pink instead of yellow, and water can be any color. Unicorns exist in the real world. As we get older, these paradigms and structures start to form. This man, after he learned the rules of fighting, started to express it like a child, explorative and curious and free. Watching Arturo Vergara fight is such a wonderful experience, and I cannot wait to see him fight again.
This one irritates me for different reasons, because unlike the previous examples, the core of his message here is actually interesting and worth listening to. But instead of explaining how Vergara actually fights unconventionally, Robin spends half his time talking about how his daughter paints. And I understand the damn analogy he's trying to make, but why even waste our time with the finger painting stuff? Tell us what makes Vergara unconventional. Tell us what he does differently than other fighters that makes him an awkward opponent to fight. Tell us what paradigms and rules he's breaking that makes him unique. What he says here is so overly expository yet unfocused in its message, and it's frustrating because I genuinely would like to hear his nuanced thoughts on the fight that he just watched. Then we have this clip from KC47 where he goes on a yapathon about absolutely nothing.
Rafael Alves is the next generation of combat sportsmen in any paradigm. And there's a lot to unpack here. When fighters go in, every single fighter, every single time understands that we are putting ourselves, our physicality, our health at risk for the entertainment of others, and because it's what we need to do. James Vick and Rafael Alves and every other fighter, they're not fighting alone. Your opponent is also your partner in the ability to create a great moment. That's why you saw Rafael Alves break down with emotion. He's not trying to hurt this man. He's just trying to show the beauty of his skill set. And he did that, and we thank you, Rafael Alves.
Instead of talking about the fight itself, his entire message was essentially that it takes two people to fight and to hopefully create a great moment, and at the end of the day, it's just business. Bruh, how about you break down the knockout that just happened a little bit, you goof? Tell us how it was set up, tell us why it worked, tell us your thoughts on where Alves goes from here. Stop force-feeding us this word salad and give me something of substance besides your long-winded non-analysis. All of Robin's analyses are just him referencing philosophy or making an obscure metaphor as to why every fight was great to watch, even if the fight sucked. Compare the clips that I just showed you to this next clip, where it's one of the very few examples I could find where he's actually giving a proper fight analysis.
He's all action, all offense. Love watching Jenkins fight. He was just so aware of where he was when he's around from behind and he could tuck this in. And there was a moment too where the opponent was getting up and he landed the perfect shin to the head at just the right time. Timed it perfectly. That right there was a martial artist in flow.
Like, do you see the difference? Robin's actually talking about positioning and shot selection as well as timing and shot placement, and I do think that it makes for a much more impactful viewing experience. And to be totally real with you, this really wasn't all that great of an analysis, but at least it was something. It's way better than him being like, Sun Tzu once said he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Also, my daughter likes to watch My Little Pony. Anyways, fantastic fight. We're all better for watching it. Anyways, yeah, I feel like I'm starting to pull a Robin Black myself here by making my analysis of his non-analysis too wordy, so I will say this. He really needs to learn how to say more with less, not the other way around. Brevity is the soul of wit, and Robin is always too caught up in showing off his vocabulary and ability to make obscure analogies that he becomes redundant to listen to. And despite his ability to speak eloquently, I just think that for whatever reason, he lacks the ability to come up with fight analysis on the fly, so he relies on his colorful rambling to convince viewers that he's saying something important when most of the time he's not. Alright, it's time to wrap this video up. When it comes to Robin Black, I just feel like he is doing way too much to be the star of the show, when the fact of the matter is he would be much more effective if he actually understood the role that he plays within the promotion. He's there to supplement the experience of the viewers, not to be a spectacle in and of himself. In a fight league that's genuinely fast-paced and fun to watch, and that regularly has GSP and Boss Rutten commentating, he needs to learn how to take a back seat and play a supporting role instead of dressing up like a man from the 80s and hollering the F-bomb for attention. And if he just simply improved upon his job duties, namely getting better at providing relevant post-fight analysis, I think that Karate Combat would benefit from it massively. But with what he brings to the table now, he just really feels like an annoying distraction to me whenever I watch their events. Like, I genuinely dread whenever this guy is on the screen because I know it's just going to be him acting extra as fuck for a couple of minutes at a time, and I know that I'm not the only person out there who can't stand this guy when watching these events. Anyways, that's the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about Robin Black. Do you agree with me that he is a detriment to Karate Combat's brand in his current state, or do you think that he makes for good television just the way that he is? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.